Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have a secret map to wealth, while others keep running in circles? Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, and Jim Rohn are names that, at first glance, appear to be from different universes. One is the man behind the technological revolution, another, the greatest investor of all time, and the third, a mentor of millionaire minds. But there's something that connects the three: a habit, simple, repeated, unglamorous, and incredibly powerful. Most people believe that wealth comes only from big ideas, luck, or inheritance. But these men proved that what truly separates billionaires from the rest of the world lies in what they do every week with obsessive consistency. And that's the point. It's not about what you know, it's about what you practice. While many wait for the perfect motivation, these three apply a ritual that shapes their decisions, sharpens the mind, and prepares the path for million-dollar choices. Jim Rohn said, "Success is something you attract by the person you become." Buffett states that he reads 5 to 6 hours a day. And Musk revealed that he taught himself engineering by devouring books for hours. They turned the act of feeding the mind into a sacred practice. It's no wonder that the three are among the richest and most influential on the planet. They didn't let their minds be shaped by chance. They trained them every week, like an athlete trains the body. And here's a challenge. If you applied this habit for 90 days, what would change in your life? If you're ready to discover this habit and put it into practice, stay with me until the end. Because understanding this could put you on the path they walked, and that most ignore. Enjoy this type of content? Then leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who also needs to change course. You already know that these billionaires share a habit. They read. But what few realize is how each transforms this habit into a secret decision-making weapon. Jim Rohn used reading as a mirror. He sought books on philosophy, human behavior, and finance to reflect on himself. For him, each page was a conversation with an invisible mentor, and that's why his lectures always seemed so profound. He didn't just read, he absorbed. Warren Buffett, on the other hand, uses reading as a radar. He devours reports, balance sheets, books on economics and history. Not because he loves numbers, but because he wants to understand what no one else is seeing yet. His reading isn't inspiration, it's investigation. Elon Musk transforms reading into engineering possibilities. He doesn't just read about what already exists. He reads to understand what might come to exist. That's why his projects always seem like things of the future. He connects unlikely ideas because he carries an extraordinary mental baggage. So, the habit is the same, but the intent is completely different. And this is a key that almost no one turns. While the general public reads out of obligation or distraction, these minds read with focus, purpose, and strategy. They ask, what does this author know that I don't yet? How can I apply this to my reality now? This is active reading, the kind where you don't just glance over the text goes through you. And now comes the practical part. You don't need to start with 6 hours a day like Buffett. You can start with 10 minutes, but with the right question in mind. What am I looking for in this book? How can this improve my next financial, personal, or professional decision? Reading without purpose is like running without direction. It tires you out, but leads nowhere. The truth is, no one finds time to read. Those who transform their minds learn to create time, even if it's just 10 minutes a day, consistently. Most people think they need a free morning, a quiet environment, or the perfect book to start. But that's just a sophisticated excuse for self-deception. The billionaires we've mentioned didn't start with spare time. They began by making reading a priority, not an option. Here's a simple plan that anyone can adopt, even while working all day. Step 1. Choose with intention. Don't read what's trendy. Read what you need. If you want to improve your financial life, start with books on wealth mindset, investment principles, and human behavior. The right reading at the right time is worth more than 10 generic books. Step 2. Block 15 minutes at the same time every day. Don't wait for time to free up. Schedule it. It could be right after waking up, during your lunch break, or before bed. But make this moment sacred. And don't worry about the number of pages. If the content is dense, 3 well-read pages are worth more than 20 skimmed ones. Step 3. Read with pen and paper nearby. The mind forgets what isn't written down. Write down ideas, excerpts, connections to your life. True reading doesn't end when you close the book. It begins when you apply what you've learned. Step 4. Repeat for 21 days. That's the time needed for your brain to start seeing this as part of your identity. You're not doing reading. You're becoming someone who reads. Now think, if you truly want different results, why continue with the same habits? Buffett built an empire based on what he learned from reading. Musk created companies that changed the world by connecting ideas. Rohn taught millions of people, including mentors like Tony Robbins, to change their lives with wisdom from simple books. All these examples prove that knowledge still is, and always will be, the only true shortcut to freedom. Over time, something curious happens to those who adopt strategic reading as a ritual. Their way of thinking changes, but not all at once, like a shock. It changes gradually, almost imperceptibly, until one day you realize you're making completely different decisions than you would have before. It's as if your mind starts to reject everything that holds you back to the past. You start asking better questions, doubting ready-made answers, distrusting magic tips and easy shortcuts, and, most importantly, realizing that true financial freedom isn't about earning more, but about thinking better. This is where the game changes. When you read about finance, you begin to understand the power of compound interest. When you read about human behavior, you understand why you repeatedly make certain wrong decisions. When you study biographies, you understand that failure isn't the end, but part of the process. And when you read about purpose, you start aligning money with values. This kind of transformation doesn't happen to those who only consume short videos or motivational quotes on Instagram. It arises from the deep habit of diving into ideas, slowing down the mind, and reflecting deeply. That's why people who read with purpose start behaving differently in common situations. Instead of spending impulsively, they start investing strategically. Instead of complaining about the crisis, they seek opportunities that no one else sees. Instead of copying others, they create their own path. And most importantly, they begin to influence those around them. You start to realize that you don't need to convince anyone of anything. People feel it. They perceive the clarity in your words, the focus in your goals, and the balance in your actions. It's the kind of silent power that doesn't shout, but transforms. And if today you still think reading is something passive, boring, or theoretical, maybe it's because you haven't yet used this habit as a construction tool. Wealth is a consequence. The true cause lies in the mind you're cultivating every day. The truth is, no one will show up at your door with a ready-made financial freedom plan. There's no someone who will change your life. And there's no prosperous future for those who keep repeating the same habits of the past. But there is a path, simple, powerful, proven by those who have reached where you want to go. Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, Jim Rohn. None of them were born knowing what they know. None had divine luck, They just decided, at some point in their lives, that feeding the mind would be an absolute priority. They understood that wealth doesn't start with money. It starts with perception, with focus, with clarity. And you? Will you keep waiting for time to spare to take care of your mind? Or will you make your evolution a daily commitment, as they did? Today, maybe you won't see the results immediately. But a year from now, you'll remember this day. And you'll be grateful for having started with 10 minutes of reading. Because what starts as a habit becomes identity. And your identity is what defines how far you'll go. You can continue living on autopilot, or you can take control. The decision seems small, but it can be the turning point of your life. If this video sparked something in you, share it with someone who needs to hear this. And subscribe to the channel, because here we feed the mind of those who want to build true freedom. Your future has already begun. The question is, will you be the spectator or the protagonist?